So this session is going to be focused on the basics of WeVideo. When you go to wevideo.com, you will be able to log in with your WRDSP Google credentials. So click on that Google login, and when you log in, you'll land on the homepage. It looks like this. If you haven't done anything in WeVideo, you won't have any of that recent stuff, but the templates tend to be the same at the top. So you're going to click on projects to get started.
Okay, so in here, then we can start creating things. You'll notice I have different projects here, like that I've worked on before. Start creating. Oh, you know what? I made a folder. My mistake. I made a new folder. I didn't make a new project. You can have multiple projects in a folder. It's a way of organizing things. I haven't used it that much, to be honest, because I don't think I'm doing that much in WeVideo. But here's the Create New Project window. And I'm going to call this Oral History. I'm going to put a description, student talk. Now, this is the interesting part. I can make a project just for myself. Next week, we're going to talk about how you can make a project that you can actually collaborate with specific people that you choose. And I'm just going to make this for ourselves because edits that don't live inside a project usually get lost once you start doing lots of stuff. So I can import media that I've already have in my, but you probably wouldn't. So you just go next. And then in my project, I can create a video. Now, WeVideo calls these things edits. All right. And really, I think people get confused because it'll refer to it as edits, but it's the video that you're making. So this is kind of your landing page. You're going to have your media. This is kind of a spot. This window is kind of what you can, resources you can access. So if I want to import a picture or if I want to put in a recording or something like that, I can do that. So for example, if I finish, when this Google Meet recording finishes, I might want to import from Google Drive something that's related to a session that I did. Or I can pull a video or an image to put into my import section. Now, in order to put it into the video, I have to import it if it's something that's already there. Another way to add content is I can actually record. And I've used this often. And you can record a webcam, a screen and a webcam, just like you would in, what's that add-on called? Anyway, there's an add-on where you can record content on your screen. Oh, my internet's being a little bit slow here. So one way of doing that recording, I can actually narrate and put in a narration piece on top to maybe a voiceover on top of a video. That's an option as well. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just drop something small, hopefully. Okay, there's like a screenshot that I've selected. It's an image, right? So I'm going to drop that. So when you drop an item into your WeVideo, you just drag it from your media section. If you import it, it'll end up in your media set folder there. And then I'm going to drop it there. So this can be an image. So this, like in WeVideo, works like a track, right? It goes in order across. There's multiple tracks. If I want to add more than what I have to overlay, I can do that. Whichever track is on the top kind of ends up by default being the top layer. So if I'm going to put a video and then a picture on top of the video, the picture will have to be here. If I want something on top, let's say this was the video. If I don't want it on top, I can put it down to the next layer. And you can actually move these layers up and down so that you can decide you know, if I want to have like a background picture and then a video on top of it, I can decide which way to put it up and down. So a lot of WeVideo is just putting stuff in here and kind of trimming things. One of the key things that I find useful when trimming is this little button down here that allows you to zoom in and out. All right. And that just means like you'll notice the timestamps at the top. This is like I guess that was every 2 seconds or so. I can zoom in and make it even much smaller, right? Fractions of a second. And that just helps you if you're trying to look for a specific spot to drop something in. So I'm going to move my picture up here. And then if I want to record just maybe a webcam of myself talking, I can click start recording. I'll give you a 3, 2, 1. And you'll start recording something. And this is really usually helpful when you're doing something where students are interacting and doing some talk or dialogue. And this is how we kind of connected it to engaging students in terms of conversation and in a way that's kind of safe for them. You know, it's hard to engage them live sometimes. So this is a kind of a stepping stone to that. So I'm going to stop. I can replay what I just talked about, and you'll start recording something. And this is really usually helpful when you're doing something where students are interacting and doing some talk. Okay, that's good enough. If I want to record it again, you can record it again. I'm going to click save. And you'll see how it automatically drops my recording into a video. And then from here, there's just tons of editing options that you can add text, you can add audio, you can add transitions between video, you can put backgrounds in your videos. So every time I click, you can add, so there's all kinds of little things you can do. And I don't want people to get overwhelmed because WeVideo is as simple as dropping in a video, trimming, maybe I didn't want the end piece, I can just trim that a little bit, you know, and then you're good to go. So it's accessible from that basic spot, but then if you want to explore, there's tons of things to explore. So my purpose here is just to give you an overlay of where things are. You'll notice this is the preview section. So if I wanted to, if we're talking about different things I want to add, this is the media section. So I can add things that I've imported or recorded or narration that I've voiced over. It'll land in this section, my media folder. But if I want to add text that's built in, maybe it's just this one, I'm going to drag and drop it. It's probably in an awkward place. It should be at the beginning because it's a title or something. And you notice how I can just drag things and they kind of lock to where you want them to go if I wanted it to go right after the title piece. So if I wanted a preview, I just press play here. So that's the music that's down here. If I wanted to control that, there's this little the volume for things. There's this little speaker button that shows up, and it shows me that everything is maxed. But if I wanted to add a fade, I can do that. Again, I don't want you to be like overwhelmed with all these options because you don't have to use them, but just to know that there's a lot of things you can do in WeVideo in editing, and your students will mess around and figure that out. So it's not really your job to know how to use all of that.
Hebron,
yep.
Ian has his hand up. I'm wondering if Ian, you want to ask a question?
Ian.
Yeah, Hebron, thanks for doing this. I got a quick question about the audio. So you know how you put your image on there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you just record voice? Because you know how you did yours and it had the webcam and it had you like talking? Yeah. Could you put like an image or a couple of images and then have like an audio file underneath it where you record your voice?
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that work?
It's useful. Let me just do that. So this is the image. So I'm just going to delete my title. I'm going to move my video back. I'm going to move my actual audio back because I don't need it. So this is the image. If I wanted to voice over it, I go back to my media. And one of the options is to narrate. So it's really handy. So I can click narrate and record. It'll go 3, 2, 1. This is my voiceover for this image. And then it has the same feature, right? I can preview what good enough. Click save, and then it'll drop it into the audio. Oh, it makes a new channel, voiceover channel. what's that called? Anyway, it has a name. Track. Aha. One of those mornings, guys. So it'll drop it in. I can match the picture or do what I want with it. Is that answer? Does that give you a how to? That's good.
That was perfect. That's exactly what I needed. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, that narration tool is really handy. Really,
and that
really
might
handy.
be really one that would be great for our students, because they might not feel comfortable sharing their screen and talking, but they might want to share their voice with some images. Is that kind of what you're thinking, Ian?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If they put a couple of images together and they speak to them,
exactly.
They might even be able to modulate their voice and make it kind of sound funny and mess around with that too. I think
Yeah, have some fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they can add a little bit of music and background depending what they're creating, right? It's so much fun. Sorry that you have to like look at the meat pad there. All right, so there's lots of options there with that button. So whenever you have an item that you've put in, if you just click on it, there's a few little things that show up. So you can delete that item. You can look at various types of effects, clip effects. So I can change the way this clip looks. It's kind of like a filter, right? I can sharpen it. I can make it look sepia, black and white, and all that kind of stuff. Kids can do that. There's the volume button. If you click on that, even on a video clip, you'll notice how the video clip got wider and we could see what's going on with my voice. So if I wanted to fade my my volume in that video or do something with it, I can do that. There's this opacity button. So if I want to make the video fade in or maybe fade out in terms of how opaque it is, or yeah, how visible it is that I can control that. And then there's this little pencil button. That pencil button is really handy because it has all kinds of tools that's in that related to that video. So if I wanted to change the size of my video screen, make it not take up the whole screen, I can do that in the scale. I can look at flipping and rotating the image or changing the position. I can crop it. I can mess around with my audio level, which is something that you would access in the other. I can animate it so that it can start in one position, my video can go across. There's tons of stuff to check out, and the kids will love playing with it. Don't worry about having to know all of that, but knowing that students can come in here, they can basically import media, images, record, narrate. Content is the big thing, and how it works is just generally there's a track window, preview window, and media content window.
Then how would they share this video? Say they made something and they want to share it now with you.
Perfect. So we're going to look at exporting. Next time we get together, we're gonna talk about how you can set up groups. And maybe we might have enough time that I can talk about that, but let's talk about how your student would finish this. So if this is a finished product for me, I can click finish. So the student's like, I've got it exactly the way I want it finished. And this is something I'm working completely on my own on. This is not, remember, it's not a project where different people are collaborating in it at the same time. Oral history is the title. They're going to set the title. And the student's going to they're not putting it out to YouTube. They don't have these other options. The only option they really have is this. They could put it to Google Drive. So if you're looking at students making little things and just sharing that with you, or dropping it into an assignment per se, let's say you're using Google Classroom or Brightspace, Google Drive is the way to do it, because they're just like making a little thing that they're doing on their own and then just going to put it on their drive, and then from their drive they can put it in Brightspace as an assignment attachment or in Google Classroom as an assignment attachment. It's very like singular, do it on my own, hand it one way, like natural, like a product thing. Next week we're going to talk about how in WeVideo you can actually do a lot of feedback, collaboration, interaction. So that's a little bit more about that next week. But for this, you would click on Google Drive and you click export. And then it says, your video is queuing up in Google Drive. We'll send you an email when it's ready. And what will happen is in a few minutes, it'll show up in Google Drive under a WeVideo folder. And maybe I'll open up my drive to show you that. So in my drive, you will have a WeVideo folder. There it is, yay. So all my exports are all in here, everything that I've ever done for WeVideos, it'll pop into this drive if I export it into my Google Drive. And the moment you sign it, the moment you sign into WeVideo, it creates a little folder. So it'll be in there, and students will have the same thing. The moment they sign into WeVideo, it'll create a little folder and it'll be in there. Okay, and so that being said, it brings us to about 9 a.m. Loretta, do you want me to go into a little bit of how you might set up a classroom for sharing now, or do you want me to save that till next week?
Maybe we could save it till next week, because Minu and I have some other things that we need to do with the group, because we have them till 9:30. But this gives them, I think, some information to just maybe play around a little bit themselves to feel comfortable, and then maybe hopefully you can at least try it out before next Tuesday. So if they have any questions before we start on Tuesday, they can ask them, and then you can show us how we could create like sort of a project with a group of students or a pair of students. That'd be great.
Yeah, and all of these slide contents is in the Google site under Tech and PD Resources. So you can pop into the slide, check out, there's some asynchronous videos that we've made on how to record yourself. So if you didn't have to jot notes today, you can reference this stuff. Oh, and I wanted to mention this really quickly. This is a really cool tic-tac-toe challenge that we made for engaging students with WeVideo. And it's basically like a really quick how-to of making little things to make your video cool. So how do you add a transition? How do you, add a title like I just did? How do you make a filter? All those things. If you share this with your students, they can kind of go and reference it themselves. And if they're asking you on how to, you can direct them to some of this content. So this is all going to be it is already in the summer school site.
And that's the main summer school site.
The main summer school site, yeah. In there'll be like a tech and PD resources section, and I'll have stuff on WeVideo there.
Perfect. And we'll stop recording now, but we'll put this little video in our website.